Hey, welcome everybody. François Letarte for my role-playing channel, and yeah, a ramble. I'd like to talk about a little bit about 2024 in review for role-playing games and what could possibly be next, becoming next. So let's begin. Um, no, so I made a video about that, but I'm way more busy doing music than role-playing games. Okay, I did a lot of music this year, more than I did in mostly 15 years. Okay, music come back into my life, and it's very enjoyable. So this kind of toss away my free time to make role-playing games, so I can't handle having more game than I have right now. But I do have a lot of games. Okay, I do make my high school role-playing game with kids using Chroniques Oubliées. I do talk about them a lot because this is my main role-playing activity. I still have two games around as a player, so why not talk about them a little bit? I'm involved into a fantasy age game with the age system from Green Ronin. Very interesting game. We kind of appreciate it. You know, there's something very dynamic into the game mechanic. You kind of generate stunt points if you roll a double and you succeed a roll, so you can choose from a list of stuff that you can buy with your stunt points, just adding up to what you just did, which I do appreciate. I do like that. I'm playing a mage. I'm specialized into air elementals and illusions. So yeah, I'm enjoying that. And two of my companions, we have a warrior and an envoy. Envoy is kind of a bard, the way I see it. We used to have a cleric, a dwarf cleric in the group. In the first few months of 2024, we were playing bi-weekly, and we were almost able to keep up the rhythm with our group. But our game master had to stop at some point. He has work to do in his home, so and for sometimes he wasn't even sleeping in his home while there were workers all around, and so he was staying elsewhere, and we had to stop the game for a couple of months. So we had to wait for him to be ready to get back on the GM game mastering seat. So we've waited, but yeah, that dwarf cleric, the player playing dwarf cleric, had to quit the game. He has moved from city. He's a work colleague, and he still is, by the way. So I see him very often every week, but he has to travel a little bit more to get to work. So for him, the game was a little farther. So yeah, he decided to quit, which is very understandable. So at some point, I decided to try to recruit some people because my game master is a little shy. So, so I decided, well, I could recruit a new player because we're doing that bi-weekly. And, if suddenly we're only three players and a game master, when one player is missing, well, there's a wheel missing on the cart. So it might be a little more difficult to get through the game. And so it's more fun if we are at least three people. So if we are four current players, if someone is missing, well, the game can still happen. So I've posted on the biggest Facebook group from Quebec province for role-playing games, which is called Donjons et Dragons Quebec. And this is a place for many role-playing games that they have sub-conversation for regions of the province. And I just posted something two or three times, and at some point, well, some people have responded, but one of the guy, seemed more serious, so he made his character a halfling rogue, and so far he did one session. So in the hope in 2025 to keep up the pace, because we already broke the bi-weekly pace because of the holiday season. So in 2025, in the hope that we will be able, all of us, to attend to those games and having fun. It's good old fun, it's good old. We are in. It's an in-person game, well, I enjoy doing, and yeah, it's kind of a friendly thing. We're not taking ourselves too seriously, and we are all experimented players, so we're able to handle our stuff. So yeah, this is a quite friendly game. I'm involved into another game that is about to end Wednesday night. It's bi-weekly there too. It's Uncharted Worlds, a science fiction PBTA. I'm playing some sort of a space priest inspired by something that is in the RPGS2 book, because we're playing into that universe. We have done 60 sessions so far, and the game master has already called that we were about to end the campaign, and he's not renewing the thing. So we might have between 2 or 4 sessions more. We'll see. It all depends on how we deploy the stuff. Well, part of me will miss playing during the week, and will miss those players because we were a good bunch. Well, it's bi-weekly. We used to be every week, but it's the same thing with the Fantasy Age game, where we used to be 4 players. One of the players left. There was some sort of a disagreement between him and the game master, and he decided to left apart, which, it's a little sad for my part. I really enjoy playing with that player, but that's the way it is. We're it's a role-playing game. We're supposed to have fun together. So if there was no fun on some way to run the game, okay. So that game is about to end, and personally, I don't think I will renew. I will offer a game, or we'll try to replace the spot. I think I will just close the spot. Wednesday evening was a spot I was running since 2018-19. It's been a while, a long while, and I kept up that spot for many different games. I was a game master for True 20 games. I played Advanced Fighting Fantasy with some friends, and with many of those players that are there. Fine players, by the way, yeah. What can I say about this game? Because I don't know if maybe I will make a video talking about the campaign. Well, this is the first time that I had a character that will get through a whole cycle. This will be the first time in my life that I have a player character that will end a campaign. Okay, it never happened with my own characters. It always ended, without knowing what's coming out next. We never really ended campaigns with any of my characters. So I'm very proud of that, because I was able to get through the character, and I can feel that we're getting through the end of the campaign, and it kind of good coincidence, but I feel that my character got through everything he had to with his religion and all of that. So I'm very proud of that. So yeah, the game is good. Okay, by the way, but this is PBTA, and I'm not in love with the game system. I don't think I will ever be a GM for PBTA games. Though if it happens, it will be this one, because I know it. I was able to experiment it a lot, and I can tell that there's a lot of good things about PBTAs. Okay, it really supports the narrative with a simple game system, but sometimes, as a game master, I do need more mechanics. I do need to roll a little more dices than what we do in PBTAs, because in PBTAs we just say, when there's no need to roll dice, stuff happens and you don't really need to make an effort, just describe. But once in a while, when I'm running a game, I like to have some dice rolled. I like to be surprised. And and the way moves are working in PBTAs, you roll the dice, and the move tells you whatever. You can interpret it the way you want, but the moves tell you what you have to think about this, what direction it takes. Well, I just feel that you don't have, as a game master, I don't feel I have a lot of freedom. Narrative freedom, that's okay, but I like the game mechanic to give me freedom, and I feel that when the dice are rolled, you're kind of victim of the system. But that's my opinion, that's my taste. Nevertheless, it was easy to play because I was surrounded by people who really are really digging PBTAs. Okay, they are really fans of the PBTA game, so it kind of make the experience easier and enjoyable. So I'm very proud of that. It won't be replaced, but maybe I will have. Maybe there will be something missing, but my body is telling me no. That's the thing. Why I don't want to replace it is because I'm pretty tired. I'm so busy in my life, working so much, different gigs, different contract, musical gigs, and high school gigs, and okay. So I'm very tired. So I just can't handle a game one more game. Okay, if it would have been coming from me, I would have already ended this campaign, but no, in order to end stuff properly, I still hanging on, and we'll get through it. But I'm tired, so yeah. But nevertheless, I might have some plans. I don't know if I will make them, so I'm just exposing here. Maybe some sort of a wish list. I have 3 game IDs that I'd like to happen. Okay, first one is with one of my band, the band called the Gros Soleil. Before I got into the band, I know these guys since a long time, and during pandemic, the Gros Soleil band, the way they were before I was in there, asked me to run games for them. It was Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition games, so we had a couple of sessions. We really enjoyed that. At some point, we have stopped. Time was missing. But since I'm in the band, I came back with the idea, well, maybe we could play in person in a game that will be different from Dungeons and Dragons. Ha! Here I'm coming with Chroniques Oubliées. So I've made a proposal saying, well, maybe we could do that. So far, the discussion we had would be once in a while, and we do a 4-hour burst of game. One shot. I do throw them into a one shot and try to make their character evolve, which could be fine. I never got back to them with that, but probably this might happen. I will make them characters, and we'll see if we can do that. But we all have busy lives, so it will be once in a while. This can't be regular. So yeah, I'd like to, but at the same time, I wish it could be regular, but at the same time, I'm tired. So so there's no perfect situation here. The other thing I might like to try is to keep the Wednesday spot, but make a game of my own, a science fiction game. There's a science fiction game I'd like to try, a French game called Les Anneaux Froids. Les Anneaux Froids, well, the Métal Froid des Anneaux de Cerbère, which is you are cops into a space station, and you are part of the life that is there. You could emulate Babylon 5 with that, or Deep Space Nine, that kind of vibe, and that's what is appealing to me. I really love Deep Space Nine, Star Trek. So, and I know that the players that I have right now on the Wednesday night spot really love science fiction. So I might be tempted to say, well, we keep the spot and we play this. Might happen, okay? It's just a matter of time and me focusing on learning the game properly to make it happen. This is something I'd like to try. The other thing is, and I threw a curveball to Anthony recently in one of my recent video, All for One Régime Diabolique. It's been a while since we haven't done that. We're doing a rotating game master duty, and it's supposed to be Ivan's turn, but I know Ivan, he's very busy with music too, and he has a lot of games where they are more involved into. So All for One kind of worked for a while, being mostly regular for sometimes, but it became highly irregular. So yeah, well, I'm not expecting anytime soon to have another game of All for One, unless, and that's the curveball I threw to Anthony, I could be the only game master, making that like a regular role-playing game experience. Just dropping the rotating game master thing and just having one game master, having the hand on the wheel and organizing and pushing the players and making schedules to make the game happen. Because that's the thing, it's a side game for everyone, and being it a rotating game master thing makes it, well, irregular. So yeah, maybe it's just a curveball. Might be once in a while, but more than once a year. Last time I played this game, we had a couple of weeks in a row, and that's the last time I ran, because we needed to get through a complicated story I threw at them, and yeah, we had so much of a blast. So yeah, I'd like to, maybe if they want, of course, it's just an idea like that, Ivan, Anthony, and Eloy saying, well, would you like me to be your game master? Which means that Briscar, my own character, will be put aside as a non-player character, which might be fine, in fact. Okay, he was a great asset to the group, but at the same time, well, someone has to do something. If I take the characters of those games, Martin, a very intense character, is not done yet with his family problems. And Philippe has to, prove some courage with stuff that happened with the vampire and all of that. We have a lot of problem in Paris in the 17th century. And of course, Eloy, is just that we didn't have enough of Eloy. He came in to our group with the last time I ran, like I said, a couple of games. Okay, I've made a solo for him, and then we played, I think it was a 4 or 5 parts of a game, just to get through some problems from one of Martin's evil cousin, which, spoiler, but which tried to took the place of the Queen Anne herself and make a coup. Yeah, and I'll finish with that, but when I designed that scenario, I just wanted to have a clean cut with that character I introduced to Anthony a couple of years back. And and having something strange about that character, she summoned a demon of reproduction, and which was able to clone people. That's why she had so many copies of her bodyguards and was able to clone the Queen Anne herself. Okay, it was a complicated plot, and one of the way that demon had, that demon was birthing some small balls with big mouths, and that who could paralyze their victims and help the demon take kind of the DNA. Okay, I never got through everything of the science related to that. Back then I thought that it was a good idea. I had a feeling that the first time they met the fleshy balls, as they were calling them, they were not really convinced on what I was doing, and what kind of adventure it would have been. Since this was a rotating Game Master thing, it was hard for me to get with the IDs already on the table. But I guess now, if I would start a game, I would be more able and to just take everything that was done and just try to make something coherent with that without adding up crazy things, crazy, unusual little balls running everywhere. Because I really felt that they weren't buying that much this ID, but they got through it, and we had so much of a awesome finale. You know, they have teleported themselves on the porch of Notre Dame de Paris to unmask the false queen that was just a clone of the queen and herself with the spirit of the evil cousin of Martin. Well, I was pretty happy with that. Yeah. So that was my long car ramble. If you have watched it, well, thank you. And this is my role-playing channel. And up to next time, I hope you have as much fun in your life as in your games. Goodbye.